It may be a year out of date, but here is your Mayans Season 4 ranking all deaths. And coming in at 18th place, we have got JJ. Yes, I think he is the worst death in the entire season. Now, there was far more than 18 deaths before anyone goes, well, hold on, there's about 100 deaths. Yes, but like in the Sam Dino Massacre, for example, and also the premiere, you've just a bunch of unnamed people getting killed. We can't rank their deaths. We can't, because they've got no names. Now, if there's a death that is like crazily cool or epic, then it would maybe go under consideration, but most of them were literally just getting shot or their head exploded. Like the guy in the fan at the Sam Dino Clubhouse, fair enough, but he's not on this list because he doesn't have a fucking name. Anyway, coming in at 18th place, we have got JJ. So like I've already said, again, reason why this is 18th, because you've got JJ, right? And the story arc with Easy just sucked, if we're being honest. It was just shoehorned in there. It was like almost a threat of, oh, is Easy going to get ratted on here? And then he shows up and Easy just kills him. Pretty much as straightforward as that. It wasted an entire season of little visits between these two. Coming in at 17th, we have got Tex. You may be thinking, who's Tex? Well, he is a member of Oakland. He is introduced in the first episode of Season 4. He makes it all the way to the finale. And if you remember the diner scene where Manny, Oterio, and Tex, and somebody else who will be on this list, basically get kidnapped. Apart from one of them does not get kidnapped, gets shot. Tex is actually burnt alive off screen. Now, when I was doing my research for this, apparently his death was actually supposed to be shown on screen. And if it was shown on screen, I would have definitely moved it higher up this list. But sadly for Tex, that's just not the way things work, my friend. It didn't get shown on screen. And therefore you come in at 17th. But if it was on screen, it probably would have made top 5. Up next, in 16th place, we have got Doc. San Bernardino President Doc Thomas. Yeah, this guy deserves such a better death. I mean, I'm not saying he was the greatest character ever, but you're a fucking president, right, against the main gang you're going against. To me, it sucked how easily he got wiped out, and the Doc really need to die. And before people go, oh, but that's how they're bringing in Isaac and all these people, but would it not have been good to see a bit of power struggle between, like, within the San Bernardino ranks? So that's why Doc gets 16th. Like, the death itself is just plain, but that's a problem with it. It's a plain Jane death. There's not an awful lot to write home about it, and I feel like a president deserved more. Coming in at 15th place, we have got Tomas. Now, I couldn't actually scrape a picture of Tomas, but you know who he is. He's the wee kid who was with Miguel when Miguel was going through his weird Mexico stage at the start of that season. And pretty much what happens to Thomas is the LNG shop, he gets shot, and that's it. Now, to be honest, looking at this list, the only reason he's 15th is because he's like zero importance to the cast. Like, his death sucked. It was like off screening. But I feel like the other three kind of warranted a bit of a better death. Well, this was just some random kid we met, so he comes in at 15th. Anyway, in at number 14th, we've got security guard Gerald. Now, if you remember in the hospital shootout, we have Easy, Manny, and Angel fighting off the Suns when they tried to kill Les Packer at the hospital at St. Davis. UC Davis, whatever the hell it's called, man. So that's going on. And during the shootout, a security guard pulls his gun, and I believe it's actually, is it Easy that kills him? I don't know, it's one of the three that kills him, it's not San Bernardino. And yeah, sadly for Big Gerald, he hits the deck, and then we later find out that Gabby is like, oh, he had a family, he was close to retirement, they loved him, they loved Big Gerald. So yeah, tragic that Big Gerald had to go, but you know what? An actual, like, sad enough death. Like, we didn't know the guy, we just knew his name, he's a security guard, and he had a family that loved him, but most people have a fucking family that loved him, right? But again, barely in the show, and he kind of just gets shot in the crossfire. Like, yeah, he was trying to get involved because guess what, troops, he's a security guard. But I feel like 14th is a fair enough rating, and with no real issues with it. Coming in at unlucky 13, and it is Eric Curry. Of course, he was a member of San Dino. He was a part of the Mayan massacre up in Oakland. But here, he was in fact gunned down in a hotel room by Manny and Oterio, I believe, or was it? Yeah, it was Oterio. So those two burst into his hotel room while he was with some escorts, man. And yeah, the escorts. I think they actually got killed in the crossfire as well. But Eric Curry was very, very unlucky for him. Up next, we have 12th, 11th, and 10th. So first off, we've got Rabbit. his brother Berto, and then we have got some sort of crow eater, or what, I don't know if they get called crow eater in the Mayan clubhouse, but she's called Rosa now. Of course, Rabbit and Berto end up getting shot in the siege in season 4. It is kind of like one of them looks through a window as Hank's going up the stairs and he gets shot. We've seen that in the trailers, we see it in the episode, of course. Then the other one is basically the first to go in the lineup when Kanche lines them up all outside the clubhouse, and he basically just shoots one of them. So again, like it's kind of funny how like the only like two non Santa Padre members who were in the Santa Padre clubhouse when Santa Padre were taking on all these other charters is the only two people to die. Well, I'll say only two patch people to die, because Rosa, if you remember, she bursts out the front door, gets shot, and then she's like, it's raining, she's screaming, there's blood. And I can't remember if she dies of blood loss, but you know what? It was actually a pretty good visual. Got these two factions, crews fucking spraying at each other, and then you've got this woman in the middle who just gets shot, screaming, begging for mercy, I guess you could say. But that's why she comes in at 10. In fact, I did personally rate her death above these two, but I feel like they're all kind of similar because they all take place pretty much within like the same scene. And the same episode. It was all like it was like the one big cool action scene, wasn't it? If we're being honest. But yeah, that's us going into the top 10 now. We've done 18 down to 10. Now it's time for 9th place. And coming into 9th place, we have got Scott, who is in fact the husband of Ana Linares, who was the special agent under Potter. So he comes in 9th, she comes in 8th, because Adelita just shows up one day, right? Basically shoots fucking Scott, stabs Ana about 7 times in the back, and then kills them both essentially. Which, again, to this day I thought was pretty brutal. I understand, right? They took Adelita's kid, so you might feel like this was a bit necessary, but to me it was a bit fucking overkill. It's funny though, because see throughout the show, like you're led to believe that like Adelita is this like, you know, great woman, rebel, all this stuff. Like but she's like child labour 101. She has like fucking child soldiers. How are you supposed to root for somebody that's like that? Honestly, I don't get it. And from the Mayans' point of view, I thought that was a bit poor as well, because seeing sons, like, if they were fucking using, like, 12-year-olds, it's always looked down upon. Like, if you think of it, even in Sons, when, like, they're in Belfast, or Ireland, Northern Ireland, whatever, the IRA are using, like 12, 13-year-old boys, and, like, you can kind of see that, like, Sam Crow have a bit of disgust for that. But anyway, these two come in at 9th and 8th. Into the top 7, though. Number 7th, we've got El Banguero. His death came as a surprise. Probably the only reason it's this high up, but he literally just gets his throat slit and that's it. Like, there's not an awful lot more to his death, and he's sitting by the swimming pool. The woman comes up, good night, slashed across the throat, and that's pretty much it. Like, honestly, it was just, I thought the death wasn't very good. If I'm being very honest with you, troops, I thought El Banquero's death was pretty dug meat on a stick, and I expected more. It's just weird. Like, this guy comes into it in season 3 and he just has like these odd like appearances, like where he's doing all this mad stuff, like he's meeting with El Palo, or he's like meeting with Kanche or something like this, and then all of a sudden it's just like he's just easily forgot about. In at 6th place though, we have got Dondo, Presidente of Stockton. He was in Mayans quite a lot. He was a Stockton veteran, so to speak, but he ends up getting killed at the diner. With a shotgun to the back through the glass. Absolutely brutal death. But you know what? That's the way the cookie crumbles for Dondo. And even though you could say, oh, but how is he getting sick, but somebody like Doc is 16th? I don't know. I feel like the element of surprise here was better. Like, Doc's getting a fucking ice cream. Dondo's sitting down with some Mayan generals and like presidents and discussing like, here, what's the next move on Santa Padre? What's the next move on the Suns? Doc getting a fucking ice cream. There's levels to this game, Doc, and you know, a Mr. Whippy isn't one of them, my friend. Up next, though, into the top 5, we've got Randall. And some people are going to think, Randall? Who the hell's Randall? Well, cast your eyes back to the start of season 4, where basically Amberquero's accountant by the name of Randall has to get moved across the border. And they're in the middle of getting him across the border. But Angel wakes up and he notices Randall molesting this kid that he has with him. So Angel does what only sane fucking adult would do and kill a pedophile right in front of him. Again, it was kind of like a brutal death, but it was like so shocking that this was actually happening in front of our eyes, and it was done really well because it was like we were just as shocked as Angel, Manny and Easy. and that's why it gets a spot in our top 5. Coming in at number 4, we've got another surprising death, and probably the biggest surprising death of the entire season. Maybe that's a bit of an overshout, but of course we've got the assault on the San Bernardino clubhouse. Basically everyone's getting annihilated. We've got Easy and Kanche about to go in to the chapel. Got some guy defending it. Easy drops him, and basically Kanche's like, yeah, these bastards, and then Easy's like, hey Kanche, watch, heads up, and he absolutely just shoots his brain off, man. Kanche hits the back wall, dead. Easy is on an absolute bloodthirsty journey here, and Kanche is totally dead. He's pan-breed, good nighty, and bang, what an absolute death this was. Like, it's a shock to the system, but you know what? This warranted a shock death, you know, more than Doc, because for Easy to kill Kanche, it had to be something like this. It had to be something where no blame can really get attached to him, albeit Angel walks in and it's kind of like, what the fuck's going on in here, buddy? But again, I really enjoyed this death, and I think it does suck a wee bit that Kanche is dead. I feel like you could have done a bit more with him, but I think this is like one of the more memorable deaths of the entire. Like if you're thinking about like top ranking guys throughout like the entire universe in this show, this is a pretty solid, like, holy fuck, that's a really good surprise death. Moving in though to our podium positions, and we have got Coco. Of course, he was killed with about 27 other Mayans. I think it was only about 5, like, if we're being honest. But this is about like completely like started the war. Coco getting absolutely blown to smithereens in this episode, and some people saying he was alive, right? I remember making vids on this. Like, the guy got shot about 7 times in the back. There was blood everywhere coming out his mouth, and people were actually suggesting that Coco might have still been alive. Come on, did the math, folks. And you know what? Like, he went out in a blaze of glory. He went up to Oakland to show his face, and when he came back, his bottom rocker was waiting for him. Sadly, all that was waiting for him was a coffin, but it was a good death, right? Like, could he win it in a more heroic way? I guess so. He literally just got killed while looking up at fireworks. But at the end of the day, he had problems with Elgin James, and the death they did for Coco was still good, because you know what, it sparked this war that's going to basically end the show. Coming in at number 2 though, we have got Gabby, of course. Going back to that hospital shootout, we've got Gerald. He gets shot. Gabby notices Easy. Easy notices Gabby. Basically take her as a hostage into the car, and then you get Angel and Easy take her out to the forest or the desert or whatever. Easy's basically saying to her, you can't say anything. So is Angel. And then she's like, I'm going to have to. And then Easy just like grabs her like in a hug and fucking just shoots her, man. This was shocking. Like I said, Kanche was the most shocking of the season. In terms of character, yes, the way he went out, like so fucking mad like that. But this may be like it's right up there with his, because this was, I remember what was like, holy fuck, Easy. This was like Easy's like first kill where you thought, right, he's flipped. He's absolutely went off the rails on the bloodthirsty wagon here. This is Easy has made his bed and he is going to sit in it, sort of death here, because he just gets the gun, bang, right in the throat, and that is Gabby dead. His former lover, the love of his life before Felipe went, hey Gabby, you need to leave Easy, amigo. But that leaves us with number 1, and it is Manny. We get the reintroduction of Isaac Packer. He's in San Bernardino. Of course, like I said, Tex is already burnt to a crisp here. But Manny gets the full speech. He gets the gasoline poured over him. He gets set on fire. He does a bit of running about. And he hits the deck. And of course, Manny, if you look at the 18 on this list, even though he was only in this season, he's probably like the death that hit the most. Like, I know people are probably going to say Coco, right? But I feel like Coco fell out of favour with a lot of fans after his whole Meth Mountain ordeal. That's my opinion, right? And also, he kind of got shot when Manny kind of went out like a fucking champ. He took it. He's like, I'm not afraid to fucking die. And then he gets set on fire and sadly perished. And in my opinion, folks, that is the best death of Season 4. But with a lot more videos coming, we need to finish a lot of stuff in Season 4, like episodes and characters. There's a lot of them to rank. So, yeah, leave your thoughts down below. But until next time, peace.